Nicole, and this is Kamil and Stuart from the Physio Crew, and today we're going to be just giving you a bit of a background on our stories and how we arrived at the Physio Crew. So Stuart, do you want to tell us a little bit about why you became a physio?
Yeah, okay, so I'll start sort of way back. So when I'd originally, so when I was about 17, 18, I first joined the army, spent about 10 years in the army. Whilst I was in the army, I spent a lot of time as a physical training instructor, spent quite a bit of time with physios there, doing a lot of rehab with soldiers and things like that as well. So after spending quite a lot of time with them, I decided that yeah, I think that is a career for me, and that's something I'd quite like to do. When I got to my 10-year point in the army, and just decided that yeah, I'm going to start university. But I then decided that I would study in Bristol. So I moved from, so I used to live in Milton Keynes, moved to Bristol, and then started the foundation year at UE. Spent a full year doing that, and then after completing that, I was able to then go on to the course at UE and started the degree course there. And then so all in all for me it was 4 years at UE, and then finished that. I've now sort of been about a year qualified, and so yeah.
The course is quite interesting at UE, I think, isn't it? I think you guys do dissections, is that right? We're on the course.
Yeah. So we do. I think it's a day's worth, or maybe half a day's worth, and that's up at the other university, and we kind of just go through the whole body and going through lots of different sort of movements, the layers as well.
The anatomy. Because for people at home, you guys probably a bit grossed out by dissections, but physios love that kind of thing because it gives you an amazing. Kamil was asking me last week actually what helped me about my my postgraduate training. I've got a postgraduate veterinary physio, which you might think, well, that's animals, but there's so many things that are relatable. And actually, when you do dissections, when you observe dissections, you actually get to see the tendons, so that's and the structures, and that's why, you know, people who have done the dissections would know that you can't stretch the ITB, things like that. It just gives you just such a different avenue. Was there anything particularly, because do you want to tell us a bit about your story, Kamil?
Yeah, so when I was 17, 18, I was looking into doing physio. I actually didn't get the grades to get in originally. I only got 3 C's at A-level, and at that time you needed A's and B's really.
Didn't stop her getting a first.
Didn't stop me getting a first, eventually. But yeah, I did have to put in a lot of hard work. But I applied to a few different universities, and obviously, but not getting the grades. I actually ended up doing the same foundation year as Stu, but the year before, I think, or 2 years before, which was fab. So that was at the City of Bristol College, and that really gave you a real understanding of, it was allied health professions, so you worked with occupational therapists, with social workers, with other physios, radiographers, radiotherapists. So it gave you a really good mixed team background, and we did a lot of different studies, different subjects there that I hadn't really done before, like psychology, and that actually now has really helped me now that I'm the other side of the degree. So I'm glad I did that really, I'm glad that gave me the opportunity. But I took 3 gap years in between leaving college and doing that foundation year. So in that time I got a job as an apprentice physiotherapy assistant. So that gave me a really good baseline for my LSK physio, so my musculoskeletal physio that we do now, and also for orthopaedics, so a lot of hip and knee replacements and things like that.
I think people forget that kind of experience actually working in a hospital, because that's quite a common route, isn't it, that people can go through either as a physio assistant or as your pathway was, and actually having contact with patients, just so important. I mean, especially like military. I always say that I love having people who are military on the team because they know to turn up on time. They have that experience, but it's important, isn't it? That kind of training and the ability to push people, because one of the things that I feel that we're different possibly from an NHS setting is that we understand that people often aren't pushed to their full potential. So, or they're given a ceiling of this is what you'll be able to achieve because you're 70 or you're 80 or because you're just an amateur athlete. I think I'd certainly look at athletes, everybody is an athlete, anyone who has a body is an athlete, and say, right, what is this person's potential, even if they can't see their own potential, and how do we give them the environment and the tools to really push them? Stuart, is there anyone particularly in your life that inspired you, a particular mentor that you had when you were doing your training? Is there anyone that you thought, or within the military perhaps?
So I think for me, like I was saying before, it was probably all those kind of people that I'd worked with as a physical training instructor. Those were the kind of people, so especially when I first started in Germany, I worked with quite a number of people there at the gym there, and they were probably, there's a few there that I'd say were very much my inspiration.
The reason I asked that question to Stuart is that we were talking before, there was a particular patient or somebody that you were working with out there who you were saying you just saw their progress, and that really inspired you. It's really nice to, I think as a physio there's something amazing about that ability to be able to take someone who perhaps can't walk, can't do the things that they love, be able to walk their dog, or be able to even play with their grandkids on the floor, and then sort of saying, right, okay, come on now, we're going to get you to the next level. Maybe even as simple as helping people get off the floor, like if people don't know how to get on the floor, giving them confidence. Is there anyone particularly, Kamil, you work on in the hydro pool, is there anyone there particularly that you've seen for a long period of time now, that you've seen their progress? Obviously don't use any patient identifiable information, but is there any particular, there's a patient that we share there who had a road traffic accident, do you want to sort of say a bit about the hydro and what the hydro can do for people?
Yeah, so I found it really amazing actually. So I did a little bit of hydro, both as an apprentice physio assistant and then also as an assistant when I worked throughout my degree. But coming into the hydro pool and doing that a bit more regularly, we've had quite a lot of inspiring patients actually who I already knew that hydro was helpful, but actually I didn't really realise the scale of it, I think, until I'd kind of started this job early this year. And this patient, in particular, has just improved and continues to improve. So even, I mean, how long ago was their accident?
Are we talking about the male patient or the female patient? The male patient. So his accident was probably, I think I've been seeing him, because I know you've probably seen him almost a year now. I was seeing him maybe 18 months ago, maybe it was 3 years ago, and this was a gentleman who was walking on elbow crutches, a huge Trendelenburg, which is the posh term for a limp, life-changing trauma, you know, or basically had his whole leg pulled off, and they, the amazing surgeons, they did a salvage procedure of his hip, they sewed on the remaining part of his foot, so he's had skin grafts, he has had reduction because he had a huge amount of swelling, and for him, he really wanted to go back to fishing. That was his big thing, so we had that as our goal. And I think the biggest thing that possibly we gave to him was hope, is to be able to say, you know what, you've had some rubbish cards, you've had some really rubbish cards, but that doesn't need to define you, that doesn't mean that's all you're going to have the rest of your life. This is why down in Barnstable, Stuart's going to be joining me down in Barnstable for 3 months to try and help me set up the rehab centre down there, and that's why we're investing in things like the anti-gravity treadmill. That's why we're pouring our money into things that will help patients, because there's nothing that beats that feeling when you see somebody get up and you're like, wow, it's a bit selfish really, but we did that. Yeah, it's selfish, but you know, there's no selfless act. But it is really important that those people, if you're one of those people at home at the moment and you're thinking, nothing is going to change, my life isn't what I wanted it to be, sometimes we have to change our blueprint, you know, if we have to just adjust things slightly. But as a physio, we work with people who go through that every single day, and we're able to give you guidance on how you return to a level of function and enjoyment. And we're good at adapting things, aren't we? We're very good at finding a way. Yeah, I think so. Lovely. Okay, well, it's really nice to learn a little bit about your background, Stuart and Kamil as well. You guys are probably bored of hearing about my background. I started the Physio Crew 5 years ago now with the intention to be able to build a rehab centre, to bring people exceptional equipment and facilities and amazing physios. That's why we're out in Egypt at the moment. We've taken a week off. I mean, if you know any other physio company that does that, please let me know, because I believe that investing in these people is really important, to make sure that they're able to deliver the skills and the exercises and the treatments that you need, but also for their professional development as well, and so that we can help more patients. So if you want to follow our journey, just make sure that you're watching Instagram, on Facebook, Twitter, and I try and do Facebook Lives every day. I try and make sure that we're doing YouTube videos, things like this, Instagram TV, and so that you can learn and benefit, but also so that we can reach those people who may be too nervous to come through with physio, but are watching at home and think, actually, I want to change my life. And the way that I'm going to do that is I'm going to just book in for a free complimentary discovery call so we can talk about how we could help you. All right then, guys, we'll wrap it up there. Take care now. Bye.
Bye.